and welcome to my channel. ഏവർക്കും എൻ്റെ ചാനലിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം. So in the previous video, I was discussing about the licensing exam in UAE, which all are the Emirates and which all are the licensing exam for all these Emirates were discussed in my previous video. One of my viewers have suggested me to prepare this video in Malayalam. So I'll be preparing this video next in Malayalam too. I'll be doing one video related with this in Malayalam. Those who have not watched that video, I will be putting the link of that video. Means my previous video related with the licensing exam will be, the link will be put in the description box. Those who have not yet watched, have a watch to that video so that you will get an idea of all the licensing exams in UAE. For example, in Dubai, which is a licensing exam, in Abu Dhabi, which is the licensing exam. You will be getting an overall view of UAE exams. Okay. So today, before we are moving on to this licensing exam, there are something have to be done. Before moving on to this licensing exam, there are many saying that I am going to prepare for the DHA exam, but I have not done any of the other procedures. So before moving on for a licensing exam, as if in the case of HCPC, we have discussed about HCPC, we have to give the documents, the relevant documents. So for today's session, we will be discussing which all are the documents to be given and how is the processing procedures in on all the Emirates. I mean, for example, in Dubai, how the steps are going on. So first what have to be done? First the data flow have to be done. Then the exam date have to be taken. Then appearing for the exam. Then getting the eligibility letter. Likewise, some processes are there, and for each Emirates these processes are different. So how is this process going on and what all are the documents required? So the documents, in the case of documents also, we will be discussing about all the specialties. For example, for doctors, what all documents are required, for nurses, for allied health professionals. A few of the differences are there, but for all the Emirates, the data flow is common. So we will see how the data flow have to be done, what is meant by data flow, what is the importance of doing this data flow, all those things will be discussed. As I said before, a student who have completed your course have to immediately take your registration number from your council. If it is medical council, you have to get the registration from there. Nursing, pharmacy, as in the case of allied health professionals, it is a little bit challenge since the council have not yet implemented. So you have to immediately rush for taking a Kerala Paramedical Registration if your course is recognized. It is very important. You have to go to your institution, take the recognition letter and attach with the documents. Immediately you have to give, since it takes about 6 to 7 months to get the registration. Once you got the registration only, you will be you will be able to go ahead with your data flow. This is what is happening now. So you have to have a check to that. And let us begin the today's session. And I think there are many friends who have not yet subscribed. Please subscribe and enable the bell icon and share among your friends, colleagues, and please do support me. So keep. Here we begins the data flow and credential for the licensing exam. So let us see what is data flow or primary source verification. Primary source verification is the act of verifying the applicant documents directly from the original or primary source by a specialized international company called data flow. The verification will be done for educational certificates, experience, health license, and good standing certificate. So before moving on to the licensing exam, there is a procedure of verification. Through this verification, an international company called Dataflow will be verifying all your documents, especially your educational certificates, experience, health license, and good standing certificate. So the next question is, why is PSV necessary? PSV means primary source verification. It will help the healthcare sectors to detect any non-genuine certificate, and accordingly MOH will ensure that the professionals practicing in the Emirates of Dubai is legitimate and qualified. That is, of course, for you to prove yourself as a qualified professional and you are eligible to take the exam and practice your profession in a country. Once your data flow is approved, you can proceed with the rest of your application. And the organization that use data flow for their credential evaluation include Department of Health Abu Dhabi, Dubai Health Authority, Oman Medical Specialty Board, Ministry of Health UAE, National Health Regulatory Authority Qatar, and Saudi Commission for Health Specialities. Then let us see the documents required for the data flow. The first one is the passport size photo. It should have a white background and the passport front and the back page, your 10th standard certificate, your plus 2 certificate, your profession, whether if it is diploma certificate with all your mark list, if it is degree certificate with all mark list, if it is PG with all mark list. Next comes the transcript. Transcript you will receive from your institution. It should be submitted, and the registration certificate, that's the license. Means this, once a student have completed your course, you have to get the registration number from your council. So that registration certificate should be given, and it should be, the council should be a government body. Okay. And the registration renewal, if there is, if applicable, it should be also submitted, and the last 2 years experience certificate. Then comes the good standing certificate, and it should be issued from the medical council if the case of doctors, or from other nurses, and for other allied health it should be from a government regulatory body. And the candidates who have abroad experience, license, and good standing certificate from the concerned regulatory body is mandatory. In spite of all these documents, in the case of doctors, they require internship and the logbook for surgical specialty doctors, while in the case of nurses, basic life support certificate should be there, and it should be approved by American Heart Association. And let us see next the process of licensing. For each license, it is having different steps of processing. In the case of Dubai, we are taking the licensing exam for Dubai is DHA. For that, you have to first do the data flow. Once the data flow is positive, you can take the examination date. And once you have got the qualified the exam, you will be getting the eligibility letter, and you can move ahead with the license or the registration. While in the case for HAD, first you have to do your data flow, then credential. After that, you are taking your exam and then registration. While in the case of MOH for the Ministry of Health,
first you are moving on to credential, afterwards data flow, afterwards exam and registration, while in the case of Saudi, data flow, credential, exam, registration. For Qatar, you are doing data flow, exam and evaluation after getting an offer letter. In the case of Oman, you are doing the data flow. You have to attend the exam. It will be MCQ. As I said before, MCQ exams will be there. And along with the MCQ, you will be having Viva exam for all professionals in the case of Oman. If you are looking for Oman, after qualifying the exam, you have to attend the Viva exam too. Afterwards only you will be getting the registration. And the time duration for this data flow will take about 30 to 45 working days, and there is a fast track option in which the data flow will receive within 15 to 20 days. And for credential, it will take about 1 to 2 weeks. Next comes the percentage of passing for all these exams. First, for the DHA licensing exam, for all professionals, it is about 60 to 65%, while in the case of HAD, it is 90 to 95%, MOH, it is 60 to 65%, Qatar Prometric for doctors, it is 60%, whereas in nurses and the allied health professionals is 50%. For Saudi Arabia, for prometric exam, for pharmacists it is 90%. For nurses and allied health professionals it is above 70%. While in the case of Oman for prometric, after qualifying for qualifying the prometric exam, you have to get a passing of 50%. But as I said before, you have to compulsory attend the Viva. So you have to concentrate for getting 69 to 70%. Since if you instead of passing this exam, you have to qualify this much of percent of exam. If you are attending or qualified the Viva only, you will be able to work in Oman.
Hope you all understood about the data flow, what all the documents required for the data flow, and all these materials are provided, means about this data flow and about the licensing exam. All these materials are provided for me by Connect with Gateway Consultancy. So this consultancy is helping or they are providing their services to all the medical professionals for doing all these process, means data flow, for getting the exam date. So you can immediately contact this consultancy if you are appearing or planning to do this exam. They will be helping for getting your data flow positive, and they are taking only a service charge of about 2,500 rupees for in the case of this data flow. Okay. So, those friends who need to apply for Kerala Paramedical Registration, I have prepared a video. I'll be share the link of that video in my description box. You may go to that video and watch that video, and you'll get an idea how to apply for Kerala Paramedical Registration. And if you have any queries related with registration, or in the case of radiography study material, you can just mail to my mail address. I will forward the study materials also to you. So, as I said before, please subscribe, please share among your friends, and please do support me. I'm planning to do Koru registration. For I have not yet planned for my next video, but stay tuned as patiently stay